Hey, this is Dan from mangaoriginals.co.uk. Today we're going to take a look at Welcome to Koshu Prison by Tombo House. It began its publication in 2004 in Shukan Jitsuwa magazine, which translates to Weekly True Stories. Journalist Leo Lewis is quoted as saying that tabloid magazines like this are the last bastion of serious investigative journalism in Japan. They generally contain a mix of manga, news articles, and nude photography. So Koshu Prison lasted for over 200 chapters, but was only collected into 14 volumes, so the ending of the story was never published outside of Shukan Jitsuwa magazine. But there were a couple of spin-offs back in its day. This is Koshu Prison's side story. It's about the childhood of one of the inmates. And the next one is Traveller, which is about one of the wardens in Koshu Prison, so it's a good alternate angle on the whole sort of prison story. There was also a 2005 live action movie. You can find the trailer on YouTube. It looks pretty good, but it never got released in English. So here's volume 1 of Welcome to Koshu Prison. Let's take a look inside at chapter 1 and some of the original pages from chapter 1. Here's a cover page with our main character, Eiji Yamakawa. He's a Yakuza member who's in prison for a crime he didn't commit. This is his fiancée down here, Erika. She's actually the daughter of Eiji's boss, Toshige Kanzaki, and we have our villains, Hyosei Takazawa and Seiji Miyazaki. And I really love the design on Miyazaki. He just looks like the ultimate villain, doesn't he? Here's the first page. The chapter title is something along the lines of The Proxy Prisoner, and page 1 has Eiji in solitary confinement or the fridge, regretting his life decisions. And something you'll notice about the manuscript is it's actually kind of patched together. I think the top panel is a photocopy with some ink elements on it. So if I flip over the page, you can see how it's been pieced together. The page is nearly 20 years old now, so the sellotape hasn't really held out. The story now goes back in time a little bit to show us just how Eiji ended up in solitary confinement. So let's take a look at the original page. And you'll notice down here, this little box is sort of just stuck onto a bit of tracing paper on top of the page. Things like this are quite common with manuscripts. And we've got this great picture over here of all the inmates on their work detail. They've all sat at sewing machines stitching away at something. And there's just so much attention to detail gone into this. I really love this artist's work. Great facial expression on Eiji as well. He's sort of chuckling to himself a bit because his friends are having a bit of a weird conversation over here. So basically, one of them has smuggled this bead into prison, and the purpose for these beads, it's something quite common amongst Yakuza, is you implant one into a certain part of your body so that you can please your girlfriend a bit better, and they generally implant one per year. And Eiji down here is looking a bit bemused, like as he should be. These guys are talking about doing something pretty weird. Yeah, let's go to the next page. So here they are chatting away, and this dude over here's been eavesdropping on them. Eiji notices, the guy goes off and snitches to the warden. So frantically, this one guy stuffs the bead up his nose in a panic. And yeah, this sort of snivelling snitch character, you know he's gonna get what's coming to him at some point later on. So the warden storms over, shouts at them it's time for an inspection. So they all open their mouths, he's checking inside their mouths. And the guy with the bead up his nose can't quite hold it in, and he's about to sneeze it out. So here we can see the bead, it goes flying, it ricochets off a sewing machine, flies towards Eiji, and hits him right on the chest. It's pretty gross. So let's take a look at the original pages here. I mean, again, just a great facial expression on Eiji. I mean, I'd probably look a bit more disgusted if I had one of those beads fly at me covered in snot. So the bead drops down to the floor. The warden's looking quite smug, and he picks up the bead from by Eiji's feet. And it looks like Eiji's about to protest and say it's not his, but he's a good guy. You know, he takes the rap for his friends. He's not about to snitch. You know, snitches get stitches. Eiji ain't saying nothing. So his friend looks quite surprised, like, Eiji's a good guy, he's going to take the blame for me. And Eiji's got this sort of knowing little nod to his mates. It's sure to get him some decent credibility within the other inmates in the prison. So yeah, all the wardens sort of wrestle him, drag him away. Off he goes to solitary confinement. So you can tell why Eiji looked a bit fed up at the beginning, because obviously he's taken the rap for something so ridiculous. And the warden's like, if I find out anything else, like, you're all in trouble. There's Eiji regretting his life. Let's take a look at these originals. So this artist just goes to so much effort. There's so many different screen tones. There's so many different characters in each panel. And this is a weekly series. You know, he put together sort of 12 to 16 pages. And again, this is a patched together page with various elements. I guess the top panel wasn't quite good enough, so he redrew it, and it's easier to just cut part of the page out and redraw it. So there's Eiji in confinement, and now the story flashes back to how he got to prison at all in the first place. Eiji's reminiscing about the past, and we've got these lovely detailed panels with just so much detail. I guess it's in Tokyo. Here's the boss's house, really beautifully drawn. And basically the boss is saying that he knows that Eiji and Erika are an item, so Eiji's a bit shocked and starts bowing, but the boss says, look, I'm going to dissolve the group soon anyway. The gang is going to be dissolved. So the chapter ends with Eiji looking quite shocked. This is quite some sudden news, and his boss has told him that he doesn't think he's got long to live. He's going to leave Erika in Eiji's hands, so quite a dramatic end to the first chapter. That's Koshu Prison. And let's have a look at a splash page as well from within the book. And the original one is really gorgeous. There's this great screen tone shadow that's sort of distorted across Eiji's face. And the art style here kind of reminds me of Ryoichi Ikigami. Like, the artist just has a really good understanding of anatomy and things. So that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to Max for help with the translation once again. See you next time.